Hey Acers, welcome to this week's Ace Role-Playing Games Club, Simply GM, and this is number 13, Redo. Because, see, 13 did prove to be a little unlucky for me on the last go-round because, son of a gun, if there's no sound on that video, there's no audio. So, since the last video didn't have any audio, I'm going to just pick it up here and re-give you the same information that I gave last time, only hopefully do it a little more concisely, because that last one went 32 minutes, and I apologize for that. I try to keep these under half an hour for the long videos. And as you can see, I've already got some shorts I'm starting to do. I got even some comments from my 4th of July one, and I got 895 views on that one. So we are definitely going to keep doing shorts during the week, but I'm also going to do my best to give you guys a good once-a-week video, and I apologize that I didn't really get one in last week. I moved. As you can see, I'm in a new studio, a new room. This is my office. You know, what can I say? And I've even done the whole thing that most role-playing gamers do when they're doing videos. If you look at those metal shelves back there behind me, I've got my role-playing games started to be pulled out of storage finally after over a year on some of these things. I found some of those boxes were packed last year. Our new house is much bigger and much better, and I get a dedicated office all to myself. This is pretty exciting. It used to be a bedroom a long time ago, and so I'm going to have to rip out what used to be a closet. It's pretty hideous. And then after I get that ripped out, I'm going to have a little more space, maybe even move my desk over that direction. But I'm not sure yet, because I could always just build some shelving in there, and that might just be the solution. Anyway, I'm going to try and, well, first of all, welcome to the Ace Role-Playing Games channel. This is the Ace Role-Playing Games Club, and I'm your host, Mason Emerson, and I'm here to help you make your own role-playing game clubs wherever you're at. So please reach out to me in the business contacts, in the about section of this channel. It has my email address. Reach out to me there. Let me know how I can help you, and I will be glad to help you get things going. This series of Simply Game Master or Simply GM videos are focused in on the Savage Worlds role-playing game, which, in my opinion, is possibly one of the best ones out there. But there are a few other ones, and there are other ones that I will talk about. And I've got those back like over on these shelves over here. You can see up there, I've got, if I move my head, I've got Index Card RPG. That's one that I've played, and I really like it. But I've also got over here, I've got one of the games that really hooked me on role-playing games and helped me realize how cool role-playing games can be, and that was Mage the Ascension. So there's some pretty cool stuff going on here. That said, let's go ahead and talk about the next set of situational rules and how I would apply them. Now, I don't know if we talked actually about reloading. I think we did, and mentioned that running and reloading gives a -2 penalty for the running, and you got to make an agility roll to make your reload. So just remember that. So that's approximately where number 12 should have left off, and we should be picking up now with shotguns. Now, shotguns are an interesting thing in real life and in gameplay. In real life, a shotgun, it uses 2 different kinds of shells. So when you're referring to ammunition in a firearm, first of all, there are bullets and there are shells, and I will explain the different parts to you so you can kind of keep track of this, because this leads into our shotgun discussion. And shotguns might be all I get to this video, but that's going to help you understand a little bit better and maybe make your role play a little more interesting. First of all, this is a bullet, and it is a loaded bullet. This is particularly for a Smith & Wesson .40. That's a 40 caliber. Caliber is the size in inches. So this is not quite a ½ inch in diameter. Next, this kind of bullet, if I can get it to not reflect, there you go, you can see it, has a primer in it, so therefore it is a center fire cartridge. If you look at like a 22 bullet, if your dad takes you out shooting or something, or your mom or whoever, if somebody takes you out shooting and you load 22, they don't have that center primer. And like I said, you can see it in the middle there. They don't have that center primer on them because the whole pan, the whole bottom of it is the primer. And so that rim, you strike it anywhere with the firing pin and it will fire the bullet. Now this is not going to explode just by my tapping the end of it. And this primer, this is a little explosive. Inside this bullet shell, here's the shell, the casing also. That part there holds powder, holds gunpowder, smokeless powder in this case, not black powder like in the old days. And then in front of it here, coated completely in metal, a full metal jacket, is a bullet. That is the bullet. That is the part that when this is inside the tube of the gun, inside the barrel, which, like I said in the previous video, that's from the old barrel makers who used to make the barrels for the early cannon. Anyway, inside there, what happens is a firing pin comes in, strikes that primer, igniting the powder inside. And since this is such a tiny chamber, there's nowhere to go but out. So it pushes this bullet, which has only been crimped down in there. It's not actually welded in there or anything. It pushes that bullet down the chamber at super high fast speeds. Yeah, that was bad English, but anyway, it's at super fast speeds. It pushes that bullet down the chamber and out the chamber and towards whatever target you're aiming at. Never point a gun at something you're not willing to destroy. And also, most importantly, always treat every gun as if it were loaded. If you find a gun, don't touch it. Tell a grown-up. If you are shooting a gun, always treat it as if it's loaded. That is the first safety rule of any gun. So that, like I said, is a full metal jacket. And so that means that the lead inside of here is encased in a copper sheath. It's wrapped up in copper. You may have heard of a hollow point. That's what this is. This is a hollow point. A hollow point is one that is designed for fragmenting and mushrooming out. So that's what a hollow point is. And as you can see, this one's, instead of having a brass shell or casing, this one has a chromed shell or casing. Now, shotguns, getting to the start of our video today, shoot a different kind of cartridge. They shoot a different kind of, this is also referred to as a shell, but you can see that there's no bullet poking out of the end. This also is center fire, but what happens is when this one goes off, it ignites the powder inside and it unfolds, it forcefully unfolds these foldings at the top, and it ejects a bunch of BBs, basically. A bunch of little steel or lead balls. And those rounds, that shot spreads out. Now, there is another kind of load that is loaded like this, but it's called a slug, in which there is a bullet inside here instead of it being wrapped up like this. And you choose when you purchase your shells how that goes. So that is this incidentally is a 12 gauge at 2 3/4 inches. Now, I'm going to put those 12 gauge rounds away. Why did I show you that? Because you need to, first of all, be able to make sure that your shotgun-toting cowboy in your zombie apocalypse knows whether he's shooting slugs or whether he's shooting shot. Second, there is a little bit of recoil on a shotgun. So you may have heard of a double barrel shotgun. A double barrel is either going to be side by side, where you have 2 rounds side by side in 2 different barrels, or they can be over and under with 2 rounds in the barrels. And those are usually reloaded. Most of the ones I've shot are reloaded by flipping a switch on the back end and breaking the stock, or not breaking the stock, it's called a break, but opening the stock at the breech, and a mechanism pulls the shells up so you can pull those out or even eject them all the way. And then you put in the 2 new shells and you close the shotgun and you're ready to fire again. That can take some time. And in game, that's represented by taking a round to reload. So with this shotgun now, there is another type of shotgun, or 2 more types of shotguns I'll mention. The next shotgun because the double barrel, actually, first of all, some of the earliest hand cannon were loaded with rocks and gravel and, just other kinds of glass and things like that they could just find. And those were the earliest versions of shotguns. But as we get into the double barrel, and then we get to the pump action, that can be fired, pump, fired, pump, fired, pump. And each pump uses the internal magazine, or sometimes a externally loaded magazine, to put a new shell into position and eject the spent shell, usually out the side of the shotgun. Then, after pumping and moving the shotgun along, you get to, and you can also move onto a semi-automatic shotgun, and those are just a fire every time you pull the trigger, and it automatically cycles the rounds for you. And there's some really cool ones. SIG makes a really cool one that I've seen, and it's so light and well put together, and the recoil's handled so well that people can fire it one-handed. Now, if you have a player who decides to fire their shotgun one-handed, you can impose a penalty on them, like a -1 or a -2 penalty, because that is most of the time very difficult to do. So let's talk the mechanics of Savage Worlds and how you would apply that. So since there's that spread, the chances of hitting your target with that shotgun are infinitely larger. So let's talk about the fact that a shotgun then will have a better chance of hitting the target. Therefore, you just have your players add a +2, and you have them add that +2 to their shooting roll. Now, shotguns, because of the concentration of the shot at close range, a shotgun's a pretty devastating weapon. And so you can actually find yourself doing 3d6 damage at close range. A little further out, at medium range, they do about 2d6 damage, and at long range, they only do 1d6 damage. So they diminish as they go further out. If you do a double barrel and you shoot both barrels at the same time, because that was something you could do, the double barrel would actually give you a +1. So if it's side by side or over under. If you fire both barrels at the same time, you get a +4 to your damage. But then you have to reload the next round. Now, if a slug is fired through the shotgun, and one of the downsides of a slug is they don't give you the +2 bonus to hit because it's not a spread. However, if you hit with a slug, because of the way and the amount of powder and the size of the bullet that's in those, the size of the slug, you can not only fire that, because with regular shot, you cannot fire at extreme range. So you can't make a 1,000-yard shot with a shotgun. But you can do that with a slug. And the damage that it does is 2d10. That's right, 2d10. That is incredible. So if I was going into a zombie apocalypse and my shooting was pretty decent, I'd actually load slugs. I'd tell you as a game master, okay, I'm going to load slugs in my gun. I've got 6 rounds, or 5. It's 6 rounds because I've got 1 in the chamber and 5 in the magazine, and that gives me boom, zombie in the head, boom, zombie in the head, boom, zombie in the head. Because I'm that good, yeah. So that's how you would use shotguns. We got a couple minutes here, so let's go ahead and talk also about size and scale. Because this is an important thing for Savage Worlds. If I am going... okay, so I am a human being. I actually, as a person, would probably have the brawny edge, maybe even the obese hindrance. But even so, my size is +1. I'm a pretty big guy. If you ever meet me in person, you'll be like, yeah, he's a pretty big guy. But most people in average space and average range usually weigh and are the size 0. So 0 is, as a human is the basis for all sizing. You can go down to something the size of -4, which is tiny. It's like a mouse or a baseball even, or a joint in the armor of the knight, or like a fairy. That could go down to a -6 as far as skill modifier. Anything that's that tiny is a -6. And so say I'm a World War II sniper, and I know that German sniper's just over there in that building, and I need to take him out, and I'm going to aim right at the reticle of his scope. And I have to take that aim, and I have bonuses for my bipod that's on my rifle. That gives me a +2. I have a bonus for my scope. That gives me, and I believe that's another +2 there. So let's take a look here. I'm going to look in my edges here, or not my edges, but my gear here, and look at the scope here. If I could find where that is. Tell you what, I'm going to come up here, find, and then do scope. Let's find the next one. There we go, rifle scope. Cancels 2 additional points of penalties when aiming. So, okay, I'm also taking the aiming. I'm also taking that as one of my things here. So let's say I take the aim maneuver, and if you guys remember that from the much earlier video, aim means I haven't moved for the last round, and I can ignore up to 4 points of range, cover, call shot, scale, or speed penalties, or add +2 my roll. So I'm going to ignore the 4 points, because right now, to take that shot at the sniper's scope, the end of the sniper's scope, the reticle, I'm going, or that's the reticle is actually the targeting things inside there, but still, I'm going to be shooting for that. So I'm taking an end of the sniper's scope. That's a -6. I'm at extreme range, which is also another -6. That's -12. But because of my bipod, I get to add +2 to my roll. So that's now just -10. I can ignore the 4 points of range, cover, and called shot and scale. So that's another 4 off. So I'm now at -6. I'm just at -6. And then I'm going to be aiming. I'm going to have my bipod, which gives another +2. And I'm also going to have my scope, which gives me another +2, or ignores another +2. So now I'm down to -4. And I probably, at this point, have marksman, which that ability, marksman reads that I can ignore up to 2 points of penalties for called shots, cover, range, skill, or speed. And so, wait, no, I cannot add marksman onto that one. So it just says here, this is, as far as marksman goes, this is a lesser version of the aim maneuver and does not stack with it. That's unfortunate. So I'm still at a -6. I'm still at a -4. -4 because of my bipod, because of my scope, because I took an aim maneuver. So that puts me right now, I am ready to take this shot at a -4. I hope I have some bennies, and I hope that my D12 is hot because I'm taking this shot. And I'm sure I haven't actually explored, because I haven't gotten that far into a character, the other things that we can do to make this a better called shot. But that's essentially what I would do. I would make that called shot at extreme range and be shooting for something little and tiny. That's why most of the time they go for just a headshot instead, because when you realize that that -6 to get it right down the scope is going to be really hard, that's a reason why people just go for the hand or the head. A basketball is also the size of it. Is about the size of a human head, so you can hit that at a long range. A house cat, starting to get there, yeah. So that's kind of your -4 instead. So if I'm making that shot at extreme range and aiming just for the head, then I'm going to be only at a -2 at this point. Now, if I'm aiming for an arm or a leg, just to stop them, then that -2 becomes a 0. And my sniper is ready to take that shot. But if I'm aiming just for the human body, looking just to get a hit, then I'm going to then in turn take that and just actually I'm going to have a +2 on the shot because I'm aiming for that human or something the size of a motorcycle or even a bull or a horse. Those are in the normal range of scale. Now, if I go into the large range of scale, that makes it a lot easier. Maybe I'll switch my gun to a 50 caliber and I'm just shooting at the engine block. So maybe that's still a normal shot because of the size and where I'm shooting. But most vehicles are large. A hippo is large. Then, what if I am shooting in a mix-up modern fantasy world and I go for a dragon? That's a +4. He's huge. But then, if I'm just shooting to tag like a radioactive dot onto a building, even at extreme range, that's a +6. So right there, I'm already up at a +2 to begin with, and then I'll have extra bonuses. And so that is the reason why we want to make sure that we're thinking about scale. So here's the other thing. Think about, and maybe I'm just thinking about this because I'm currently rereading The Chronicles of Narnia, which are excellent books, by the way. Excellent, excellent books. They're very well narrated. They give you some good examples of action and adventure, and storytelling is superb. C.S. Lewis is amazing. And yeah, I did finish listening to XDM, like I said in my thing last time, and I'll gush about that in a second if we have time left in the video. But when we talk about scale, the difference in scale makes a difference. So think about the giant Rumblebuffin as he was trying to stomp on the witch. He's huge, and he's got feet that are the size of my room here. And they're coming down on somebody my size. Guess what I can do? I can run away. I can dodge them pretty easily. So the tiny little fairy, if she wants to throw a bolt at this huge dragon, she gets a +10 to hit. Doesn't say +10 to damage, just to hit. So with the +10 to hit, that means that she most likely is going to hit that dragon. It's not going to be hard for her to hit that dragon at all. However, going back the other direction, when the dragon tries to stomp on that little fairy, she's so tiny, she just zip, 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 compared to him, and he's going to miss her most of the time because he's got a -10 to hit. So you subtract the difference when you're the larger creature, and you add the difference when you're the smaller creature. So that's really what we're looking at here. That's how size works in Savage Worlds. And size can be a very important thing. And that's why when you get into like superpowers and stuff, if you can shrink down, you have such a big advantage in hitting. Now, again, you don't have the advantage in damage. And if that dragon finally does like do a sweep of the tail, and even though he's got a -10 in their size difference, there is one thing. Some of those attacks have bonuses to hit. So when all the numbers are balanced out, and that's your job as the game master. Your job is to balance those numbers out and keep them going. So anyway, I just want to take a quick moment to truly plug my friend Tracy Hickman's XDM. Let me grab this off the shelf here. And I am not sponsored by these guys, by the way, at all. But I wanted to show you guys, because I got the original one. This is the original XDM. This is the first edition. It was really cool, and you can see I've got papers and notes and all sorts of things in it. This is the second edition, the most recent edition, the awesome edition. And yes, I actually splurged and got myself not in this one, because this is the unsigned version, but I have a signed version that must be upstairs. I thought I got them the other way around, but anyway. So I've got a signed version because it was at the game store and it had a sticker in it with all their signatures on it. So yeah, Tracy and Curtis Hickman wrote it, and there's some input from their artist and friend and the artist for the book, and that's Howard Taylor. You may have seen some of his stuff involved with Munchkin, apparently. I didn't know that until listening to the audiobook for XDM. The second edition is that Munchkin's there. This book has some great tips for being a game master. You don't have to use their XDM system, although it's pretty cool and it is the most stripped down version of any RPG system I've ever seen. So, that said, make sure that you are opening your arms and including everyone at your table, and making sure that everyone knows that you are an ace role-playing games game master. Build your club, build the group together, and together you will accomplish what you're after. Just know this: I love you. You are amazing. And the world is a better place with you in it. I look forward to meeting you, to having you invite me to game at your table, because I invite you to game at mine. And I will gladly teach you how to be a game master so that you can lead these games. Other than that, thank you for joining me today, and thank you for being patient with me without the sound here. So this one replaces the one from July 9th. I will actually deactivate that video, and I will add this one into the Simply GM playlist. So other than that, thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you again next week, and we will try and get a few shorts in there between now and then. Anyway, take care, my friends. Bye.